Jai Hind everyone. I am Vikas Roshan, Assistant Professor, AKGEC Ghaziabad. I am the teacher of Constitution of India, Law and Engineering. The subject code is KNC 501, KNC 601. Today I am going to talk about one of the important topic of this Constitution of India, and that is Preamble and features of Indian Constitution. So let's start. In very first slide, I am going to talk about some introductory part of our preamble, like why it is required, from where it is taken, and what all things it contains. We know that preamble is the identity card of our country, our constitution, and it has been taken from in the American Constitution. The American Constitution was first to begin the preamble as an introductory part, but thereafter it was followed by many countries, including our own country, India. So ever since American followed this preamble as an integral part of Constitution, many countries like ours followed the same. The term preamble refers to introduction or preface, or I told earlier, the identity card of our Constitution. It is the summary or essence of our Constitution. Means just 3 or 4 lines explain all the nature, all the essence of our country, of our Constitution. Actually, it is based on the objective resolution drafted and moved by Pandit Nehru and adopted by Constituent Assembly later on. We know that objective resolution is something from where almost every part were taken and used in our preamble. We also know that M.N. Roy, one of the popular leader before independence, he suggested about there should be a Constituent Assembly, and if Constituent Assembly is there, after freedom, after independence, will India have its own constitution, its own preamble, its own fundamental rights and other aspects of a citizen? So these all things were discussed even before the independence of India. So Jawaharlal Nehru passed objective resolution, and to be honest, most of the theme of today's preamble is taken directly from the objective resolution put forward by Pandit Nehru. So it was adopted by Constituent Assembly of that time later on. It has been amended by 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976, and the 3 words that were taken at that time in 1976 were socialist, secular and integrity. In coming slides, I will tell you where these words were added and how significant these words are there to complete the meaning of our preamble. One popular Kesavananda Bharati case is there in our Indian constitutional studies, and under this studies, a 13-bench judges put forward the fact that preamble is not just an ordinary page or just like any additional pages. It's an important part of our constitution, and it is so much important that it is integral part of our constitution, and without it, constitution cannot be considered as complete. So in this Kesavananda Bharati case, the judges, the judiciary made it clear that the preamble is important and it is integral part of our constitution. In coming slides, when we will discuss about preamble in detail, we will come to know that the whole preamble can be studied in 4 parts, and these parts are like: one is the source of the constitution. Thereafter, we will know about nature of the Indian state, that is our country. The statement of its objectives means what are the basic objectives that were tried to achieve through the constitution and through its summary or essence, preamble. And thereafter, at the end, we will see the date of adoption of this constitution, and that is celebrated as Constitution Day as well. So now moving forward to the next slide. So you see in this slide that at one side I have put forward the constitution, the preamble, the original preamble that is prevailing right now, and some amendments were also taken in that preamble. Some changes are there. I told earlier that 3 words were added, and these words are socialist, secular, and thereafter integrity. So these words were added later on. Now, first of all, I would read out for you to read out this all preamble so that you can understand that what are its text. Thereafter, we will explore the things. We will try to understand the things, what is there and what is the meaning of these slides, what is the meaning of these contents under the preamble. So we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens what? Through this preamble, through this constitution, our policymakers tried to achieve the justice of all forms like social, economic, political, thereafter liberty of thoughts, expression, belief, faith and worship, thereafter equality of a status and opportunity were also ensured, to promote among them all fraternity, brotherhood, assuring the dignity of individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. So this is all for nature of Indian constitution or our nation were included in our preamble. And in the last line, the preamble talks about the date on which this constitution was adopted and enacted. And in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this constitution. So after going through this text, if you have gone through the Constitution of India, you will find that no one can make a summary like this that includes the nature of the constitution and that has left nothing to be amended further. Almost it has covered all the important aspects of our constitution. So this is the text of the preamble. Now let me explain the words in detail. Like we know that justice is there. What is the meaning of social justice, economic justice and political justice? How the liberty is important for we Indians and how does it safeguard our interest in our country? So let me explore these terms, key terms in coming slides. Now we see, first of all, the first word is sovereignty. In last slide, I had shown you the preamble. You see, I talked that the preamble can easily be divided into 4 parts, and these 4 parts are namely the people of India. This is the source. So the source of this constitution is the people of India, the representative who were selected, who were elected by the people of that time in our country. So the people of India is the source of this preamble, this constitution. Thereafter, we see in coming line that having solemnly resolved to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. These 5 terms, what I spoke just now, sovereignty and socialist, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. These 5 terms are actually the terms that explains what our country is, what is the nature of our country and basic theme of our country. Our country is sovereign, our country is socialist, our country is secular, it's democratic and republic too. And these 5 terms forms the nature of Indian constitution, nature of our country that is secured by our constitution. Thereafter we see that in coming lines, to secure all its citizens, to secure to all its citizens what? Our constitution secures justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. And these 4 things are considered as the objectives of our constitution. So these 4 keywords are actually the objective of our constitution, and it is achieved with the constitution. And thereafter, the fourth part is after the source, nature of constitution, objective of constitution. The fourth part is the date. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, this is the date. So this is the date on which we got our constitution, and that date is celebrated. That date is still celebrated as Constitution Day. So we see that in our Constituent Assembly, the 26th day of November 1949, we hereby adopt means we all people adopt, we bring it in our common day-to-day life, we enact, give it a legal framework, and thereafter it is observed by we all, it is accepted by we all. So in the last line we see that it talks about the date on which the constitution, the preamble, everything was accepted and given to the people of India. So in these four parts we can study the preamble. The first one is source, that is the people of India. Second one is nature of India, that is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Next one is the nature, that is justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. And in the last line it talks about the date, the day on which it was commenced, and that is 26 November 1949. Now, let me explain these things in detail, because sometimes it appears that all the words are synonymous. Many people many people are not able to discriminate or able to recognize the difference between democratic and republic. Sometimes sovereign, socialist, secular, all are used interchangeably. But let me clear that how these are different and why it is important to keep them in preamble, so that the basic nature of constitution, basic nature of our India can be understood. Now starting with sovereign. Sovereign, sovereignty, samprabhuta, that is the word sovereign implies that India is neither a dependent nor a dominion of any nation. Means after the independence we can clearly say that our country is no longer a slave country, a dominion or even a dependent country on any other nation, be it be United Kingdom, be it be US, Russia or any other strong country. So this sovereignty says that we are independent and other forces, either external or internal, cannot influence, cannot exercise any power on us. We are free to conduct our own affairs. It may be external affairs, it may be internal affairs. We won't bend back to anyone, we won't surrender to anyone in any of our foreign policy, trade policy or any policy related to citizens. So this sovereignty explains that the India is a sovereign country and it is free from the influence, from the power, from the clutches of stronger countries. So this sovereignty is all about our power in regard to taking decisions and not surrendering to any country. Now coming to the word socialist. Sometimes this socialist word appears to be confusing. Like in our constitution, it has been written in form of democratic socialism rather than the communist socialism. So let me read out. Even before the term was added in 42nd Amendment, I told in earlier slides that socialist and secular words along with integrity were added later on in the amendment, 42nd Amendment of 1976. So even before the term was added by 42nd Amendment 1976, the Constitution had a socialist content in form of certain directive principles. As we know that in our constitutions from Article 36 to Article 51, we see that directive principles are there that gives guidelines to the states, to the states how they can become an ideal state, what they can do to improve harmony, to improve social order, and what can be made fundamental rights thereon. So socialist word here simply means that we are having democratic socialism. We are not like China, that the whole companies, all the companies, be it small or large, every companies once were occupied or once run by Communist Party of China. So we are not like that. We are the democratic socialism. Here mixed economy prevails, where there is equal space for poor people, for rich people, for private companies, for public companies. So in the socialist sector, we can say, in the socialist term, we can explain that apart from talking about the minimizing the distance between rich and poor, it mainly talks about mixed economy, where equal weightage is given to private sectors, public sectors in our economy. Coming to the third word, secular. The term secular too was added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment of 1976. The Indian Constitution embodies the positive concept of secularism, that is, all religions in our country, irrespective of their strength, have the same status and support from the state. The state here, that is India. Actually, some countries like France, they believe that all religions are ignored, while our religion, our secular word, explains that all religions are equally respected. It hardly matters who one is in the majority. We know that India is a Hindu-dominated country, and we know that other people of other religions are also living there, be it we Christian or Muslims or Yahudi, thereafter Sikh, Jain, Baudh. So India is a colorful country where people from various backgrounds, various religious faith are living together in harmonious state. But it has been made it clear in the amendment of 42nd Amendment of 1976 that secular word was indirectly there even before the amendment, and that explains that we give equal weightage to all religions. Our all citizens are equal, regardless of the fact that which religion he or she practicing. Thereafter, the fourth important term from our preamble is democracy. When we talk about democracy, one popular definition of democracy comes in our mind, that was given by Abraham Lincoln, and he believed that democracy is for the people, of the people, and by the people. So when we talk about democracy, we know that even in this modern era, some countries don't follow the democracy, but we are happy that our country, India, is a democratic country, and that gives equal right to all people. Democratic polity is based on the possession of supreme power by the people. Means in democracy, government, in place of government, the power lies with the people, and people can make the government and can replace the government. So this is the beauty of democracy, that provides rights to one and all of the country, regardless of their caste, creed, and any background. So a democratic polity is based on the possession of supreme power by the people. The Indian Constitution provides for representative parliamentary democracy. We actually select, we are a large country, and in this country it's not possible that all we people can go into the parliament and thereafter ruling the country. So what we do, we actually select our representative, and after electing our representative, they work for us, they make law for us, they take all the steps to make our life more convenient. The term democratic is used in the preamble in the broader sense, embracing not only political democracy but also social and economic democracy. As the preamble has stated, we are ensuring that democracy is there. Democracy, social democracy means if you are socially poor or you are socially rich, you all will get equal democratic rights. Your social background, whether you are from upper caste, lower caste, or whether economic background, rich or poor, everyone gets equal democratic rights. No republic. Actually, India is a republic country. It is not headed by any monarch or any king or queen. In a republic state like India, supreme power is held by the people, and by their elected representatives, which has an elected or nominated president as well. Like in India, in our India, we are having our indirectly elected president. So India has an elected head called elected head as a president, but we know that we indirectly elect president. So India is a republic country, not a monarch, and it is not being run by or controlled by any king or queen. The next term that is important from preamble point of view is justice. The justice in the preamble embraces three distinct forms: social, economic, and political. Social, economic, and political. When we talk about social justice, it denotes the equal treatment of all citizens without any social distinction based on caste, color, race, religion, sex, and so on. We know that people are discriminated on various grounds, but the term justice is equal to all, and the constitution is everyone is equal in front of constitution, and it doesn't discriminate on any background, on any ground like caste, color, race, religion, gender. Economic justice is non-discrimination on the basis of wealth, income, and property. So this justice explains that if any wrong thing happens with you, you have all the right to expect justice, expect a right form of justice from our constitution, from our policy makers. Liberty. Liberty means absence of restraints on the activities of individuals and providing opportunities for the development of individual personalities. Sometimes we say that liberty is the freedom, and in our preamble it is explained in form of freedom, but freedom of thoughts, freedom of expression, belief, faith, and worship. So you and we as Indian citizen, we have freedom of all the things. We are free to explain our ideas. We are free to follow any profession, follow any belief, any faith. We can worship the way we want, and we are free to express ourselves. Our thought process cannot be controlled by the government. So this is the explanation of liberty. But it doesn't mean that if liberty is given by your nation, then you can say anything against our country. You must have heard that some slogans, anti-national slogans, were raised in JNU. But the constitution doesn't give liberty to do something that is anti-national and that hurts the sentiment of other peoples. So some limitations are there, and it is for good of the nation, for good of the democracy. So liberty is the freedom of all aspect, be it your thought, be it your way of worship and your faith. You can do everything in our country, provided that you cannot hurt the sentiments of the nation. Coming next is equality. Everyone is equal. However, everyone is equal in this world as well. But when we talk about in our country, our constitution always provides some provisions that makes sure that equality maintains in our country. It simply means absence of special privilege to any section of the society. Imagine a situation that few rich people are given a special weightage, and they are given some special type of citizenship where the value of their votes are much higher than the common people like me and you. Then in that condition, democracy will fail, and I can say you firmly that sooner or later the nation will also fail. So here equality means avoiding any special privileges, any special weightage, any special regard to any people of the nation. Everyone is equal in front of law, in front of constitution, in the eyes of Supreme Court, in the eyes of other government bodies. So so the term equality means the absence of special privileges to any section of the society, and the provision of adequate opportunities for all the individuals without any discrimination. Suppose if government is coming out with government jobs, So everyone will be given equal opportunity to apply for the jobs and have the jobs in that institutions. So there in many forms we can see that the opportunities are provided equally to all the people of the nation. Next comes fraternity. Fraternity, that is brotherhood. Fraternity means a sense of brotherhood. The Constitution promotes this feeling of fraternity by the system of single citizenship. We all Indians are brothers and sisters, and even in the preamble, the sense of brotherhood is ensured that it is promoted, and the differences among the two people on any ground can be eradicated, can be removed, and it is ensured by giving single citizenship. Means you are brother and sister, and you are not the citizen of Bihar, Gujarat or Delhi or any other state. Otherwise you will feel discriminated that this people is from different state and you are from different state. So thanks that our constitution provides for single citizenship, and it develops the sense of fraternity. So through this with this all explanation, now I think that it's clear that the Constitution of India is having preamble, that is the introductory part, that is the identity card, that is the essence or summary of our constitution, and that explains in just few lines, that explains the beauty of our constitution. You cannot imagine a strong India when you expel out, when you remove any of these words, any of these keywords from the preamble. So now after understanding preamble, let's move to the salient features of our constitution, that how our constitution is different, how our constitution is beautiful when we compare it with the constitution of other countries, and what all features are there in our constitution. So I am covering one by one. So one of the feature of our constitution is it's a lengthiest written constitution. So many constitutions are there in this world. Even some countries are having UK is having is not having written constitution as well. So we see that in India we are having lengthiest written constitution, and one of the basic reason behind its length is that we don't have separate constitutions for a state and center. Like in America, we see that in America even the states have their own constitution to some extent. But in India, our constitution is lengthy because originally when the constitution were made, almost many parts were there, many schedules were there, and even the 395 articles were there, and it formed a lengthiest written constitution. Most of the things were taken from Government of India Act 1935 as well, and these all things made our constitution lengthiest one. And it goes without saying that if ours is having lengthiest constitution, then it's not to be worried about, because our country is also second populous country, and that is following constitution, that is following democracy. So it is lengthiest written constitution. Second, drawn from various sources. The source of inspiration, the source of various key lines, key tags of our constitutions were taken from various sources. Like as I told, that majority of the constitutions were part of the constitutions were taken from our Government of India Act 1935. If you compare them, you will find that most part of the Government of India Act 1935 were taken directly or with some modification in our constitution. Apart from that, we found our policymaker, our constitution drafter found that so many good things are there in the constitution of various countries, and we try to adopt them. Like we followed preamble from American Constitution. We were inspired with the fundamental rights of American Constitution, and we adopted the same in our constitution as well. You see that from Irish Constitution we adopted directive principles of state policies. Similarly, At that time, during our independence, our policymaker, our constitution makers went through various constitutions, like Constitution of Germany, Japan, South Africa, UK, France, and they adopted many good things from those constitutions. Third, blending of rigidity and flexibility. Our constitution, the Indian constitution, is neither very rigid nor very flexible. Like we see that USA constitution is very rigid. It's very hard to amend that. But when you talk about UK constitution, it is very easy to amend that. So our constitution drafting team take care of the fact that constitution should be in between the rigidity and flexibility, so that when something changes in external environment, we can adopt our constitution accordingly. But they also ensured that it cannot be changed easily. Suppose if any party ruling the center can easily change the constitution, then you can easily imagine that so many governments have came into the center, came in center so far, and all would have changed the constitution to a large extent, and that could be very bad situation. So Article 368, that we know that for constitutional amendment, this article is there, and we also know that constitution can be amended in 3 ways. It can be done by simple majority, it can be done by special majority, and apart from that, our constitution can be amended with special majority with half of the state ratification. When some issues are related to states or are having federal nature, then the consent of half of the Indian states become necessary. Next is federal system with unitary bias. Federal system with unitary bias means our country is a federal one. Federal one means we are having center, we are having states as well. Center is ruling. We see that our nation is being ruled by Modi and his Mr. Modi and his team, his cabinet. Apart from that, various states are also being ruled by various parties and various governments. Like in UP, Yogi ji is caring about the state affairs. So in federal system, our country is following federal system where state and center both run together. And India is a large country, so it's okay with the countries like ours. But with unitary bias, when we go through the provisions of our country, we will find that a bit center is stronger. Center can impose emergency rules on the state. Center can take various even one citizenship is given to people like you and me. No state citizenships are given like in America. So if you analyze these things, you will find that we are having federal system, but with unitary bias, where center is stronger than all the states. Parliamentary form of government. We Indians, our country is following parliamentary system. The Constitution of India has opted for the British parliamentary system and of government rather than the American presidential system. In America, president is the head. Like Joe Biden is currently the president of America, and he is the head of the nation. While in India, we are having parliamentary form of government, and it is also known as prime ministerial government, Westminster model, responsible government. So in this form of government, in this form of parliamentary system, the party ruling the party who is in majority, who is in the majority in the center, rules the overall country. So India is having parliamentary system. We are having independent judiciary. We know that in Article 50 of Directive Principles, independent judiciary is recommended. And if your judiciary is not independent, its decision could be influenced by legislative body or executive body or the party ruling in the center. So various provisions are there in our constitution so that judiciary can be made independent. Fundamental rights. The beauty of our constitution is fundamental rights that we people enjoy. There are six fundamental rights, and these fundamental rights are like right to equality, right to freedom, right against equality, right to religious freedom, economic and cultural and cultural rights, educational rights, and the last one is constitutional rights to constitutional remedies. So these six constitutional rights, these six fundamental rights are provided to we all people, and it has been mentioned in form of articles in our constitution. We see that from article 14 to from article 35, we find that various fundamental rights are mentioned. Fundamental duties are also there. It was added in 42nd Constitutional Amendment of 1976, and these fundamental duties includes that respect your flag, respect the national anthem, protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of nation, don't indulge in wrong things like riot. So you promote brotherhood, promote scientific temper. So fundamental duties are added in 42nd Amendment, and it tells that we Indian citizens are not enjoying, we must not only enjoy the fundamental rights, rather we are having some duties towards the nation, and when nation calls, we should go for that. Secular state. Our country is a secular state. Secular state means in our country no religion is given majority. Like we see that our neighbors, China, our neighbors like Pakistan, that is following Islam and as a central religion or as a main religion. But in India, we practice secular state, and the constitution doesn't uphold any particular religion as the official religion of the Indian state. The term secular was added in 1976 amendment, 42nd Amendment of 1976, and this makes everyone equal, no matter what religion you practice. So with these all features, thanks to you all for listening to me. And apart from that, we see that our constitution is different and beautiful as well in many sense. So I expect you all to discover more features of this. Thank you. Thank you all.